human memory? Starting with the introduction, what is human memory? Human memory is very simple to understand. Memory means whatever information is there have to store in memory, can store permanently or temporary. That is the different thing, but data information you can store in memory, and when it is needed or requirement is there, then can retrieve at that time. So storage of information and retrieval of information is primary function of the memory, and these two function is implementing basically in human memory. And there are three variants of human memory. We'll see in details. Types of memory. There are three types of memory. The first one is sensory memory. Second one is a short-term memory, and third one is a long-term memory. Sensory memory, or people calling it as a sensory buffer, short-term memory or working memory. So let us see one by one. First, sensory memory. The sensory memory acts as buffer for stimuli received through the senses. A sensory memory exists for each sensory channel. Iconic memory for visual stimuli, echoic memory for hearing stimuli, haptic memory for touch stimuli. So what is the sensory memory? Let us start with the sensory memory. In this there are two words, one is sensory and another one is a memory. We know the meaning of memory, but what is sensory? Sensory means our senses, that is human senses. There are three main senses, three major senses. Your side, that is eye, hearing and touch. So what is happening? These are senses generating or producing the stimuli. What is sensory memory? The sensory memory is acting as a buffer. It is simply acting as a buffer for a stimuli which is received by the senses, as simple as that. So sensory memory is acting like buffer for stimuli those who have received from the senses of the human. Types of sensory memories. There are three types of sensory memories. The first one is iconic memory, second one is echoic memory, and third one is a haptic memory. So there is thing here is that the sense channel we have like visual sense, visual stimuli, hearing stimuli, haptic stimuli. So here our respective sensory memory is there. There exists sensory memory for every sensory channel. It is the main fact, main point need to understand. Also for visual stimuli, for that I have iconic memory for specifically respect to that stimuli. Then hearing stimuli, for that I have iconic memory, and for touch I have haptic memory. These three names are very important and these are related with which respective stimuli, that is also important. Now what is happening? There is my sensory memory. Everything is starting from here. What is it getting? It is getting sense. One type of data information is getting, that is stored in your sensory memory. It is true, but nature of this can override the information. It can get changed with the time when new experience is getting. So here in your sensory memory it can override. From this sensory memory we have to move toward the short term memory by focusing on attention. It is very important word, attention. What you mean by attention? Now see, sensory memory is there, many senses are there, but from that I have to give the important to the only some senses and other I have to filter out. So this filtering you can do by giving attention to the respective senses. In this way you can carry out the filtering process. For example, with blindfold, if object is given to your hand and you have to touch and guess what object is that, so it will be task for you Now you can't see that object, so you have to touch, and by touching you can easily recognize what is that object. So that time stimuli of your touch will have very importance, and rest of the stimuli will be filtered out. So attention of all will be on touch stimuli only. Let us take the second example. While driving the car, our visual stimuli is having the very much importance, because it is the stimuli that is used while driving for safety, and other stimuli will be filtered out. So in the mind many stimuli are present, and we are trying to concentrate at one place. That is what we are trying to achieve. That is what we are trying to do. If I am taking the I am talking about the iconic memory. For that we can take the same example of blindfold, and task is given that the tune will be played and you have to identify the direction from where it is coming. So you have to sense that, and on the basis of that you have to find from which direction the voice is coming. So here importance will be given to hearing stimuli for that respective instance, for that respective period. In that particular instance, what you are doing, you are giving importance to that stimuli because you are interested or need is there. So that's why you have to give the importance to that stimuli. That is what we are calling it as attention. After respective filtering, what is our information that is reaching in our short term memory. Next,